So how do computers get these IP addresses? Well, I already jumped the gun a little bit and I talked to you about the thing called a PIPA. But basically, what are our choices? We have statically, meaning you can actually go in and statically assign an IP address to a computer. You can get your IP address from something called a DHCP server. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. This is a server that has a pool of IP addresses. And when a client says, I need an IP address, the DHCP server says, all right, let me look at my list. Oh, this one's available. Here you go. Or we can also use a PIPA, automatic private IP addressing, where you automatically give yourself a 169.254.anything IP address. There is a quick process involved with this where you do a broadcast and you basically say, hey, everybody, I just assigned myself this IP address. And if anybody else already has that same IP address, right, because it's all random, then you get an error and it says, oh, okay, never mind, never mind. So I see someone has that already. I'll pick another one. Okay, so it's not a great way of doing it, but it is something that can be done. And this is where we get into the fun stuff. Working with binary numbers, the math lesson. Now, as I already promised, my math lessons are very simple. I've been a math tutor for many years, and I work with small children who struggle with math. I am going to show you how to work with binary numbers, and all you're going to have to know how to do is just very basic, probably somewhere in the level of like first grade, second grade type math, just addition and subtraction, a little bit of multiplication. So we're going to start off with a simple question. On the screen it says, what is this number? And there's a number there, right? It's just a number. I don't want to say it out loud, but there's a number there. What is that number? Say it out loud. Say it out loud. I know you're thinking this is probably some kind of a trick question, right? Well, it's actually not. This number is 3,482, right? Is that the number you see? Is that what you thought it was? That's what it is. It's 3,482. No trickery here. But I want to use this number to explain how this all works, because how do we know that it's 3,482? I mean, how do we know that? We know that because in the decimal numbering system, okay, the base 10 numbering system, the numbering system that most humans use, we learned that there's a ones column and a tens column and a hundreds column and a thousands column. And then what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to take the numbers 3, 4, 8, 2, and we put them into those columns. And we know that the 3 is in the thousands column, so that means we're supposed to say 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. 4 is in the hundreds column, so 4 times 100 is 400. 8 is in the tens column, so 8 times 10 is 80. And then 2 is in the ones column, so 2 times 1 is 2. And then you add 3,000 plus 400 plus 80 plus 2, and what do you get? Look at that, 3,482. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, was that just a whole lot of baloney? Just a bunch of double talk. I heard that from a math teacher back in school, and that's why I don't like math anymore. If that's what you're thinking, and maybe you're not, maybe you're someone like me and you love math, but if that's what you're thinking, relax. The only reason I did this wasn't to try to show some kind of a weird magic trick. The reason I did this is because this is to show the principle of how everything else is going to work. When working with the decimal numbering system, what that means, decimal or base 10, is it means that everything is going to be a power of 10. Okay, it really has to do with something called exponential numbers. And don't worry, I know I told you that I was going to keep this real simple, so we're going to eliminate these exponential numbers in a minute. But first, just to look at it here, what we have is, if we start all the way to the right, okay, let's not look at the left, let's look all the way to the right. You have 10 to the 0 equals 1. And that's how we get the ones column. 10 to the 1 is 10, or you get the tens column. 10 squared, or 10 to the second, is 100, or the hundreds column. And if we continue all the way down the line where we get 10 to the third, the fourth, and fifth, and sixth, that's where you get the thousands column, the 10,000s column, the 100,000s column, and the millions column. Okay, so that's where these columns come from. Now, by the way, the other thing I can tell you, just to eliminate these exponential numbers, is 10 to the first just means it's 10. 10 to the second means 10 times 10, meaning there's two of them. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 to the third means there's three tens. 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, that's what the exponential number actually means. Now, the other thing that you need to know when we're talking about decimal or base 10, what that means, base 10, is it means that there's 10 values that can go into each of these columns. And that's why we have the numbers 0 through 9. Okay, those are the 10 choices. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how the decimal numbering system works. So let's talk about the binary numbering system. Okay, if we take binary or base 2, that means we now have 2 to the 0, 2 to the first, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, 2 to the... Forget those exponential numbers, okay? I'm going to show you, just forget those altogether, okay? I promise you, nice simple math, and we're going to keep nice simple math. What I do want to tell you is that because it is base 2, the number selection within each column, there's only two choices, 0 or 1. Those are the two choices. Here's how you can create the values of each of these columns, okay? Forget about 2 to the first, second, third, fourth, and all that stuff, without having to do exponential numbers. Any number to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so in any numbering system, whether it's binary, whether it's decimal, you could be working in octal, hexadecimal, doesn't matter what numbering system you're in, you always start with the rightmost column being a value of 1. So the bottom of your screen, I just added a 1. Then from there, all we have to do is keep multiplying by 2. That's it. Remember I said there'd be just a little bit of multiplication? Well, here it is. Multiply by 2. What's 1 times 2? It's 2. So the value of the next column over is the 2's column. Multiply 2 by 2, you get 4. And you get the 4's column. Multiply 4 by 2, you get the 8's column. 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048. And I'll stop here at the 4096th column. Okay, those are the values of all the columns in binary. And by the way, there's a reason I stopped at 4096, and you'll see this in just a moment.